In the forest around Cobalt, Ontario, there's a story about something that was seen over and over again for more than 60 years. It was covered in dark hair, walked on two legs, and had something very unusual about it. The hair on its head was noticeably lighter than the rest of its body. People eventually gave it a name: Old Yellow Top. The first reported encounter goes back to September of 1906, when a group of men were working on the headframe of the Violet Mine east of Cobalt. They reportedly saw a strange ape-like figure moving around the mine site. There isn't a lot of detail preserved about that first encounter, but 17 years later, something very similar was reported again. In July of 1923, prospectors J.A. Macaulay and Lauren Wilson were working on their mining claims near the Wet Lafier mine. While they were taking samples, they noticed what they initially thought was a bear picking through a blueberry patch. Wilson threw a stone at it. The creature stood up. It growled at the two men and then ran away. When Wilson described what they had seen, he said the creature was covered in dark hair, but its head was yellow. He also made it clear that whatever they'd encountered didn't look like any bear he'd ever seen. The name Yellowtop stuck. Then nearly 24 years later, another sighting was reported. In April of 1947, a woman and her young son were walking along the railway tracks near Gillies Lake, just outside of Cobalt. The woman noticed something moving near the tracks. She described it as a dark, hairy animal with a light-colored head. But what caught her attention most was the way that it moved. It walked on two legs, almost like a man. The creature crossed away from the tracks and disappeared into the bush. There was no confrontation, no dramatic chase. It simply walked away. For more than 20 years, that was the last reported sighting. Then came 1970. And this time, there were a lot more witnesses. One evening, a bus carrying 27 miners was traveling toward the Cobalt Lode mine. The driver, Amos, had been driving that route for months. As the bus traveled along the road, a dark figure suddenly emerged from the roadside and began crossing in front of them. Amos initially thought it was a bear. Then the figure turned toward the headlights. That's when he noticed the light-colored hair extending down toward its shoulders. He hit the brakes. The bus went out of control and nearly plunged down a nearby rock cut. The creature made it across the road and disappeared into the trees. One of the miners, Larry Cormack, also saw it with his own eyes. He said it looked like a bear at first, but it didn't walk like one. And for Amos, the encounter was especially unsettling because he'd heard the old stories about Yellowtop for years. He had never believed them until that night. The reports around Cobalt had now stretched from 1906 to 1970. Different witnesses, different decades, but the same basic description kept appearing. A large, dark-haired figure walking upright through the forests around the mining country of northern Ontario. What do you think? Do you think Yellowtop is a real creature lurking through northern Ontario? Comment below and let me know.